What's up, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes catching up with one of our favorites. He's the former Strikeforce light heavyweight champ, King Muhammed Lawal, King Mo. Also now a coach at American Top Team, and back in the day represented the United States on the international level in freestyle wrestling. What's up, Mo? How are you, man?
I'm good. How about you guys?
Doing all right. I guess I didn't throw your TNA run as well. How long were you in the pro wrestling world?
A
year,
two? Sure. Maybe 2 years, something like that. Two years.
Is that disappointing to you that it didn't maybe flourish more? Because it's not like you were forced there. You actually like pro wrestling.
No, I did, but I had a good time doing it, but I wasn't consistent enough with the technique and everything. I didn't have the chance to go to pro wrestling school consistently enough to actually progress. It's not easy. I can do independent stuff now because I understand it more and more since I've been doing it. But when you first start, it's a whole different mindset.
Okay. Well, speaking of a whole different mindset, you just signed on to fight bare knuckle fighting championships with that organization. So tell us, that kind of caught a lot of people off guard. I introduced you with your wrestling accolades. You've been retired for a long time. Bare knuckle just seems like a whole different animal.
Yeah, it's a little different. I'm a fan of it. I watch it. I love watching it, actually. It's pretty entertaining. But it's a new challenge, I just want to test myself. I like BYB. I like BKFC. But right now I'm in BKFC with this fight. And, man, I just wanted to go out there and test my skills. I've been watching it for a while, and I kind of know what's effective, and I want to see if I got it to be effective.
Most will say he's doing it for the money. How much of this decision was for the money and how much was competitive juices?
Well, I thought about competing in some grappling matches or something like that, but my knees can't handle being knee barred or any type of ankle lock. Wrestling, I'm not going to wrestle no more because I'm done with that. But I just thought that, 10 minutes, I'm in shape. Let me see what I can do, and I like to compete.
Well, how much is this? Do they pay well? I mean, I don't know. Sorry for being nosy, but do they pay well? Is that attractive to you as well? And will you be doing more than one?
It's cool. I just think it's a trial. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not committing to anything more long term. I just want to go out there and see how I do.
You're going up against a really, a seasoned fighter, we'll say. Talk about, I guess, how much training do you do when, aside from hitting mitts, or training others, how much have you worked on hands, boxing, bare knuckle, those types of techniques? Like, how up to date, how polished are your skills, I guess?
Well, as far as tactically, I know I'm there. As polished as my skills, we'll find out come fight time, because this is a whole different sparring is a different animal than actually doing the bare knuckle thing, because with bare knuckle, it's a whole different range. You get to being a little closer and more intimate with the strikes, and even with the hand fighting and the pummeling. And there's many nuances within bare knuckle. And then as well, you have to figure out, how do you protect your hands? Where do you put the effort and the energy in the punches at? To the head, to the body? How do you there are a lot of different details when it comes to this. So it's not about necessarily who's like younger, stronger. It's about who's smarter. You see the guy, Mick Terrell, the heavyweight champion of BKFC. He's in his 40s. Lorenzo Hunt, 40s or late 30s. I feel like now it's about tactics. You've seen Austin Trout go out there. Him and Palomino are up there. You know what I'm saying? But they're two of the best. I just think it's a little different world with the bare knuckle, because it's not necessarily about who can hit harder. It's about who's smarter.
So Mo, I come from a good place, man. I'm not trying to be a jerk here, but this is a champ, right? The matchmaking just seems bizarre to me that they would even do this. I guess you got lucky in a way. It's not for a title. I know that.
We're fighting 185,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. The matchmaking just seems bizarre to me in a way. I mean, but look, it's not like I haven't seen you knock out Yuri Prochaska or others, So yeah, I definitely do know that. But again, you've been retired for a few years, and it's what the fans think. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of you.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
that's why I'm investigating this, and I feel with you, we can push to get these answers. But
Well,
like I
it's
said,
all good.
the dude's a champ. The dude's a champ. And he's 32. You know, I think you're almost 10 years older.
Yeah, I'm about 10 years older.
Yeah. Why not another guy? I guess to ease into it, maybe. That's where my curiosity is.
Well, I honestly, like, the name got brought up, and I've watched the fight. Some. You know, I watched quite a few of his fights. You know, I never thought about know their names.
I want to ask you something, because I think this is a question that people would wonder. You immersed yourself in boxing during your MMA career. You did some work here at the Mayweather gym. You've done a lot of boxing. I guess people might ask, why not boxing instead of BKFC?
Well, I could do boxing. Boxing, you know, I think when you go into boxing, those guys are far more polished. You know, yeah, I immersed myself in boxing, but at the same time, I was a wrestler. So if I couldn't really box you up, I would take you down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this is kind of similar, except like if I can't box you up, I'll clinch you up. You know, and dirty box you. So there, I don't know. It's just a little different. It's not pure boxing. And with pure boxing, yeah, I could fight bums and possibly beat some of those bums. But then let me fight somebody with more experience. I'm definitely losing, because boxing's it's more detailed and there are more nuances to it.
What about when it comes to BKFC, offensively and defensively? There are so many different things that you're going to have to adjust to. What do you think is going to be more difficult to adjust? Because offensively, like you said, the hands, you got to protect them. The range is different. And defensively, you know, people forget the boxing gloves are so much bigger, right? For defense, it's just your hands now, man. So defense is going to be way different. Which do you think is going to be harder to adjust to, the offense or the defense?
Well, they both go hand in hand. I think probably, I don't know. I guess we'll find out, because the offense, if you punch the wrong part of the body, you could quite possibly, you know, damage your hands. You know, so that punch placement is an issue, and then cuts. You know, I'm not really sure. You know, I think maybe offensively, it might be different on how where I choose to target, and what how much energy I put into the shots. And then defensively, you know, you just can't sit there and with the high guard, because the punches will slip through and could quite possibly cut you or hurt you. So I feel like you have to have active hands, head, and feet for the defense.
You know, when we first started our show, and even a little bit before, I thought it was so much fun to kind of tell people about this new sport, right? Mixed martial arts. Just give it a chance. You're going to fall in love with it. And I feel like we're doing that again with BKFC. I feel like they're in that position right now where all it takes is a couple fights, and I think this thing is going to really, really blow up. I think it's already starting to. But it is fun to watch, man. I really enjoyed it. And I'm a guy that at first thought it was too brutal. I was like, ooh, I think this is too much. They grew on me, and they've won me over. Where do you think they are in relations to, like, maybe say the growth of the UFC and mixed martial arts and the steps that they took? Where do you think BKFC is?
I feel like BKFC is not UFC level, but everyone can relate to a fist fight. You know, that's one thing that everyone can relate to. So I do think that you'll see it spread more and more, and you'll see it, like, I think it'll spread faster than MMA in a sense. I'm not saying it'll be bigger than MMA, but I can see it spreading a little faster, because some of these other countries, they don't deal with jiu-jitsu or any type of grappling. So I think that it's easier to relate to a fist fight than it is to relate to a MMA fight.
Mo, finish this sentence for me. If the King Mo that fought at fill in the blank shows up at my BKFC fight, I will knock him out. Which King Mo would you like to teleport yourself back to, where you just, man, felt really, really good with how your hands performed that night?
Honestly, I'm going to be real with you. None of those. Because I feel like I was a lot more reckless then. I feel like I'm smarter now, you know. And two, with power, it's more about accuracy and precision with bare knuckle, because if you hit the wrong part of the body at full power, that hand could be gone. You know, so I think it's more than just knocking someone out. It's about being able to touch somebody up and not get cut.
Who have you already surrounded yourself with to at least say, you know, these people have experience, I'm working with them, whether they've already fought in that bare knuckle ring or they've trained people to fight in the bare knuckle ring?
Well, you know, I'm definitely working with Thiago. You know, talked to him. I was down there working with Romero. Had a chance to get with him over the weekend to just do some different types of training with him. I got people at the gym, and I got some guys that within the boxing world, whether for Reed Samad from training for perfection. You know, he's a good one. He's moved to Miami. He worked with David Benavidez and used to work with Carmel Moton. So I have about, like, you know, my boy Tyrone Spong even. I got people, you know, that are down to ride with me and are going to help me train for this.
Mm-hmm. Did you say Yoel Romero or was it another Romero? So I didn't hear that part.
Yoel Romero. Yeah.
Oh, Yoel Romero. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. So that must be interesting. Did you guys throw hands or did you guys wrestle?
No, we just, you know, more tactical stuff. You know, we watched a little bit of footage from the opponent. We just did some more tactical training, and we're gonna link up on the weekends here and there. You know what I'm saying? And just keep on training, maybe twice a week. Because I know go ahead.
Did you ever face him in freestyle wrestling when you guys were on the international level? I'm just curious. I know he's older, but did you guys ever cross up?
We were around at the same time a little bit, but not for too long. But we didn't cross up. We had some of the same common opponents, but honestly, Romero was so good. If he lost, it was easy to say that he might have lost because he was paid off. That's how good he was.
Damn. We haven't talked about that in years, but I remember we've discussed that before, where some countries, the athletes were better, but the payoffs would come in, and so they had a decision to make. Was that prevalent, or is that just your isolated story from time to time?
I think with the Cubans, it was definitely prevalent because, like, you know, a lot of Cubans would come in, the new ones would come in, they're young, they would win worlds or take second at world championships or at the Olympics. They'd place high. And then after that, they would make it to semifinals and lose in every big tournament, in every big world tournament. And then once in a while, they'd win to get their respect back up. And then they'd lose in the semis, lose in the quarters, and then that pattern would repeat.
Mm-hmm. Goes has pointed this out before, but you've been to our studio so many times, and on many occasions, we always would pick your brain outside of, hey, Mo, who you fighting next, and things like that. And one conversation that would come up is that maybe 15 years ago, you tipped us off that Dagestani fighters could do well in mixed martial arts. Watch out, they're coming. And sure enough, they did. They came in waves, right? My question is this: what is it that they did that everyone else didn't do? Okay, that's part of my question. The other question is, I used to watch international wrestling, you know, when they would have these dual meets, right? But I remember other countries like Iran, Cuba, Bulgaria, and then another one you pointed out. You said Azerbaijan was another one.
Yeah.
So why haven't they? And Turkey, let's throw Turkey in there as well. Mongolia comes strong at the Olympics and the international level. Why haven't they been able to find the same recipe or formula that Dagestani fighters have?
Well, that's because, like, a lot of those countries, like Azerbaijan and any other former Russian republic, would buy the guys from Dagestan or Ossetia or Chechnya and pay them to be on their team. So, you know, that's why, like, they never truly had a chance to really develop anything like that, because a lot of their wrestlers, the top wrestlers, came from Russia.
So they were like father or mother had citizenship in that country, therefore they could choose which country they want to represent or something like that?
I'm not sure. I just know this. I remember I went to Mahashkala years ago, and they had Haytag Azumov, who was like number 2. They had Gitsalov, who was number 1, and they had Shervani Muradov, who was number 3, and I think Kurbanov, who was number 4, and they were all in the same within the same city, you know, and they came from that area. So I mean, like, you know, and then a lot of those the guys that couldn't beat the number 1 guy for Russia, one would go to Azerbaijan, one would go to Belarus, one would go to, like, you know, Turkmenistan or Tajikistan, and that's how they work.
It's like human trafficking in a way, but on the sporting level, huh?
Well, you got to get the best.
You know, it's a trip because look, there's a country, you've heard of it, Uruguay, way at the southern tip of South America, you know, in between Brazil and Argentina. I mean, they're small compared to other countries geographically, yet they still deliver great soccer teams. And then Cuba for many years could develop boxers and wrestlers, and that's a small island in the Caribbean. Georgia, I'll give Georgia some props. Topuria is, you know, born in Georgia, lives in Spain now. Davalishvili, a few other guys. I think Giga Chikadze, you know. But I guess I'm still waiting for Azerbaijan or some of these other wrestling powerhouses to start sending their athletes or something. I mean, either that or maybe they just don't have the infrastructure and the coaching for mixed martial arts to succeed, you know, as our sport blows up.
Well, I think that's what it is. And I think eventually over time, you'll start to see people get brought in from other countries to a certain region or a certain city or to a certain gym to teach to teach what they know, to spread some information, because Mongolia does have a good MMA fighter. I think he fights at 170. His name is I can't pronounce his last name, so I'm going to butcher it, but he fought in 1FC, and he's a tough kid, you know what I'm saying? Tough guy. But you're right. There are not many Mongolian MMA fighters that you could possibly name.
Yeah. You think there's a lot of beefs in Mongolia amongst fighters?
Who knows? Maybe. I'm not sure. You know, Mongolia is so big. Where would you have beef at?
That Mongolian beef, man. You never know.
I wanted to catch up with you a few weeks ago because I wanted to ask you. But first of all, how much have you trained with Alex Pereira? I think he came down to American Top Team a little bit, right? Early on, or no?
He came down once, and I met him with Glover, and we spoke.
Right.
Like the stuff he told me was kind of interesting, you know. And I see how he's so great.
Can you share what he talked about, or was it like strategies or what?
He told me that he's gonna mimic Carlos Monzon, and
the Argentinian.
Yeah, he said that's his favorite boxer. And if you watch Carlos Monzon's just shadow boxing and watching his fights, him and Pereira got the same similar punch release, and you can tell Pereira's kind of like he's kind of patented his style after Monzon, but then he's added a few of his own things in there. I've never seen a guy with the left hook like his, even compared to other boxers.
Yeah, Monzon's the one that goes. Remember when we were talking to Adrian Yanez about adopting the nickname Mantequilla?
Yeah.
Jose Napoli's the Cuban-born Mexican boxer, we'll say. I think his streak got stopped by Carlos Monzon. So, the Argentina, man, quietly has had great boxers over the years.
Machi, you know, he's Mr. Untouchable. You know, Maidana. Matisse. Sergio Martinez. Yeah, I think it's because they're in the mountains, and they all. If you notice, they all can go 12 rounds. Besides Matisse and Maidana, because they're just punchers, but the rest of them could go. You know, they had a great gas tank. And if you look at the guys like Santiago Ponzinibbio, and then there's another guy from Argentina who fought in PFL. I forgot his name. He's tall and lanky, and he has good volume and good output. And those guys can go for days.
Mo, tell us about when I was researching you a little bit before the interview. just to see what you've been up to, see how long it's been. By the way, I think we're on 5 years now from you being retired from MMA. But I see this post of you and Dean Thomas, and another guy, and you guys are laughing. You're telling stories, and this is why it was interesting to me, because you said that in Japan they kind of move the bodies in quick, in and out, and they keep the show going. I just remember staying up late nights, man, and sometimes I'd be like nodding off, because Pride or Sengoku or whatever would be really, really late, in the evening because of the time change. But it always seemed like a respectful crowd. The fighters could hear their corners or whatever. So on the one hand, they're respectful to the athletes. They cheer them in and out. But you're saying that within all that, they are keeping the thing going quickly, and they're ushering the bodies in and out, whether they're cold or whether you won.
Yeah, they stick to a schedule. They're very detailed back there in Japan. And I know, like, that's why if you notice, every Japanese MMA card has an intermission. And then after that, it's back to it. Because, in Japan, when you're fighting, you head to the venue pretty early. You're there about noon. And that's when you check into your locker room. And, like, you're there early, man, around noon. And it's pretty, and it's long. You can't leave the locker room. Man, that's one thing I didn't miss.
Is there like a bed there you could take a nap? Not a regular bed, but like a massage table bed or anything where you could take a nap? What can you do? Just watch the fights, I guess, unfold?
They had these wooden, like, straw tatami mats. Yeah, that we had to lay on. And then they gave us, like, room temperature bento boxes and green tea and water. Like, the breakfasts out there were amazing. Breakfast time in Japan, in Tokyo, you go to any place and go to the buffet. It's amazing. But once that's over with and you go to the venue, first of all, like, we used to stay at the Tokyo Ibisu in the Western Ibisu in Tokyo. So from there to Saitama Arena was like an hour bus ride. So that's an hour in there. Then when we leave for the venue at about noon, 11 or noon, and then we get there at about 12 or 1. And then once you check into your locker room, you can't leave. You gotta stay there.
Well, it ain't for testing purposes. Why is that?
Just, I don't know. Maybe because you could go sneak out and, like, modify your gloves or I have no idea.
What's the longest you were in the locker room for?
Damn, I'm thinking maybe about 8-9 hours.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah. If not longer.
Think about that. If you were there for 8-9 hours in your own home where you have everything that you love, you kind of want to get outside. I can't imagine what a locker room.
Man, they were so strict. I went to buy a soda from the vending machines in front of the locker room, and they said I couldn't bring it in, even though they watched me buy it. I bought it right in front of them, and I went to go take it into the locker room, and they said no. And they're worried about cheating. But I'm like, you watched me with security. I purchased this soda because I'm not going to drink green tea in the locker room.
Why are they worried about cheating? It was pretty open over there in terms of PEDs, alleged PEDs, wasn't it?
Well, with Risen, they drug tested you. With Sengoku, yeah, but they drug tested you. But I feel like a lot of times, like, they would, so let's say you fail the drug test, they could use that against you to cut your pay.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they really wanted to test the foreigners for now to make sure if one of these guys gets caught cheating, we're taking part of our purse back.
Did you ever get yellow carded?
One time for eye poke.
What'd that cost you? Like 10% of your purse or something like that? Or
I don't remember. It was so long ago. But I remember who it was. It was versus the former king of Pancrase, Ryo Kawamura. He was coming at me, and I kept on eye poking him, not meaning to, but he ran right into my fingers.
So then Mo's story is fighters are getting knocked out. They're giving them the salts to try and wake them out. You can already hear the walkout music of the other fighter. Man, that was so funny. Dean was laughing his ass off. I was laughing as I heard it and everything.
Just think about the pace of pride. Because right when the fight ends, they like in Japan, they cut to the promo. Like they'll show the next one fighter and background story of him. Then they'll show the other fighter and a little background story. Then they'll show B-roll. Then they'll show them both talking how they'll win. Then the music cuts off. Then the fireworks come off. You walk out. They walk out. And then they announce your name, call you the center. You step back. You hear them say, judge, 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 fight. It's pretty quick, man.
Man, that's nuts. That's crazy. Oh, something else I was going to ask you too, and I think I just spaced it. Oh, sorry. As we've been talking about Japanese mixed martial arts history, I forgot that when we introduced you, you were the open weight Ryzen Grand Prix champion as well. That's when you beat Prochaska. So yeah, a lot of accomplishments you had, man. Again, this surprises me. You still want to compete because it's not like there's an itch. I mean, you claim the top in many organizations. But yeah, I guess that's what you want to do. Go for it.
Appreciate it. I just want to test myself a little bit. You know, it's a trial. You know, see how I do. But I think I'm gonna go out there. I'm gonna do my thing, man. I'm pretty confident. In this one.
Howard Davis Jr. was you guys' boxing coach years ago. And I know he passed away. I think he was part of the Olympic team with Leonard, or either in Montreal in '76 or one of those. So when I see this guy, Daya Davis, in Dustin Poirier's corner, is he any relation?
Yeah, that's his son.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and Daya was a beast, man. Daya started boxing pretty late. I mean, like in his 20s. And if you look at his record on BoxRec, he's fought some of the best. He fought James DeGale. He fought what's that dude's name? One Punch Man. I'm going blank on his name. He's from Ohio. I'm going blank on his name. My bad. But he's fought quite a few guys, man. If you look at his record. I can't name everything off the top of my head, but I remember seeing some when I saw DeGale at the time. DeGale was the former Olympic champion, I believe, from Great Britain, and he was a monster. He could punch. I think he was a southpaw. Yeah, he was a beast.
Are you still cornering a lot of fighters? Are you still doing as much traveling as you used to?
I'm cornering fighters, you know. But you know, I got Biggie Boy. I got some people, but you know, Azamat Bokayev from LFA, Natalia Kuzanatia. She's a LFA champion. Both of them are LFA champions. You know, I got a few up and coming fighters to that corner, but right now, you know, my most notable fighter right now I work with is Jairzinho Rosenstruck, and he's fighting Tai Tuivasa, I think next month, in about 4 weeks.
Yeah, because I didn't see you in Muslim Salakov's corner, so you're not working with him anymore?
Well, yeah, he did his camp somewhere else because, you know, him and Santiago, you know, in the same area. So, like, yeah, I think that he probably felt out of place because, you know, he doesn't live in Florida. And also they're fighting at altitude. So I think that it's probably more conducive for him to go to Colorado or to Denver and train there to acclimate to the altitude.
All right. Well, Mo, it's always great catching up with you. And I guess as the fight gets closer, maybe on fight week or something, you know, prior to the weight cut or whatever. What are you fighting at? What weight?
185. I got cut for nothing, man. Like,
oh shit, 185. Okay.
So
yeah, you'll cut to 185 for BKFC in your 40s, but you wouldn't do it for MMA in your 20s and 30s.
My thyroid is more hyperactive now, so I'm just losing. I can walk outside in the heat and just sweat. Before I just kept my weight up.
Yeah.
The heaviest I walked around that was like maybe 213, if that.
Okay. Yeah, we always used to bug you about that one. Remember when you drop in the middleweight?
I should have maybe, but you know, things happen.
Any other regrets?
Nah. I'm good. No.
All right. Man, we always appreciate the time. Wish you the best of luck with your camp. And of course, good luck in your fight against Dave Mundell, BKFC. King Mo making his debut in the BKFC ring there. No gloves, folks. And I went to a BKFC this past Friday in Temecula. It's exciting. It's exciting whether you watch it on TV or stream or whatever, or go to it in person. I really liked it. So thanks, Mo.
All right, thanks for having me, y'all.